Hello, my DOP family, and welcome to Cleansing with D, our first epi of the series. I'm super pumped to go down this journey with you guys. It's gonna be incredible and life-changing if you guys even just take one thing that I offer for you guys in this series. Will be enough to spark something different in y'all. So anyways, without further ado, today I want to focus on things that have nothing to do with the actual food you eat. And the reason I want to take some time to do that is that that's actually where we probably struggle the most, right? Like we all kind of know instinctively what we shouldn't and should eat, but what stumbles us is our psychology, right? Our mind, our patterns, our triggers, right? Those things that take us down a spiral where we are no longer making conscious decisions. We're making decisions from our subconscious and we're just going with what we know. So I want to hit on a few points today. The first thing is that if you guys are going through some mentations of learned helplessness, which is a feeling of, nothing will ever be different, right? Like no matter what I do, my circumstances will not change. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and say, let's refuse that thought, right? Let's refuse that thought pattern. And the reason is that it's just not true. Just because something was yesterday doesn't mean it must be tomorrow. It's just the logic train there. It's just not true. So I wanted to point that out and put that out there for those of us that feel that way. If you don't trust yourself yet, trust me, trust many other people that are out here on this journey when we tell you it is possible. I had those feelings. I had that mentality. I thought hey, I'm just a size 12. I'm big boned. This is just who I am. It's not true. I've definitely, now I'm maybe a pant size 7 and I've gone down as far as a size 6. So trust me, it can be done. You are not your mind, right? Your soul is something entirely different. So continue to remind your mind that you can do anything you put your mind to. And this learned helplessness can be unlearned. So that's the first thing I kind of wanted to go through. Now, the second thing I wanted to go through is outcomes, right? So as humans, we constantly focus on what we don't want. Okay, we don't want to be fat. We don't want to be unhealthy. We don't want these extra 30 pounds, 20 pounds. We don't want that, right? But do we really sit down to really flesh out what we actually do want, right? So I want to task you all to take a second and write down what are the things that you want from health. And I don't want us to focus on just that pounds number, right? I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to be 150 pounds. I want to be, whatever it is that you've created in your mind and you've probably been chasing for a long time. Let's leave that to the side. I want you to focus on things that are emotionally juicy, right? They're pulling you in, right? You're not struggling to go there, right? Let's say for us parents out there, I want to live to see my kids, right? Or I want to be able to play, right? I'll run around with my children. I want to be able to build some sort of running habit with my children or my husband or my wife. I want to be able to go on an expedition around the world and have the energy and vitality to do that, right? I want to be able to help my community, and I want to have the energy and vitality to do that, right? These are emotionally juicy things, whatever that is for you. I'm just like going off on things that come to mind, but it could be anything, right? But we've all said we want to lose 10 pounds. We've all said we want to lose 20 pounds, but it's just not emotionally juicy enough. So I want to encourage you and urge you to take a second, well, not a second, that's not enough, but take a few minutes, right, to write down the emotionally juicy things that you want out of your health and your body, right? Which is critically important. You know, our body is a vehicle for us to be able to experience this 3D realm. So, you know, write them down. Thinking them is not enough. It's like the thought comes in and shoot, it comes out. We need to write them down and revisit them constantly. Now, the third thing I wanted to go through today, and then we're going to have a final bang with something that's really been life-changing. But as human beings, I just want us to acknowledge that we tend to avoid pain more than we seek pleasure, right? So you want to create some sort of mental fuck, is what I call it, right? A mental fuck where you're avoiding pain and not just seeking pleasure, right? So, you know, for example, let's say you hate your job, right? Or whatever, but it's hard for you to leave because the pain of having to, whether it be interview or do your resume or do something new or maybe not make as much money, those doubts, that lingering down, that pain is more than the potential of you going into something new and exciting and something that you're really aligned to, right? It's just as a random example, and I probably should have chosen something about food and health, but y'all get what I mean. So when you're thinking about these things, construct ideas where you are running away from pain instead of just seeking pleasure, because for whatever reason, that's how our very primitive mind works. All right. And I think lastly, this is an activity that has absolutely changed my life. And this is food meditation. I don't know if this is a technical term, but when I first came across it, that's how it was presented to me. But really, it's about eating mindfully and concentrating on the process of nourishing yourself. So instead of just picking up your food and running on the go and just eating really fast, or watching television and eating at the same time, or being on your Instagram surfing and eating at the same time, let's take some time and take 20 minutes and sit down with your food. Look at it, smell it, make it a full physical experience. Actually degustate it, right? Chew constantly, taste it, right? And it's not like a 1, 2 chew and swallow, right? We should really be chewing our foods in the upwards of 20 chews per bite. Especially foods that are heavy, right, and hard to digest, like red meats and stuff like that. Take some time to chew. It is critically important. And the reason why is that when we're eating distracted, we miss the points that are, we miss that point where we get the message, hey, we're satiated, we are full. Right? We have triggers that go off and they don't when we are not focused on the process of eating. It also makes it such a pleasurable experience to actually involve all of your senses, right? So try it out. I realized that was my trigger for overeating. that might not be yours exactly, but trust me, everybody can benefit from this. But if you already do this, hands down to you. But I want to leave you guys with a little activity. Well, another activity, because I've already gone through a couple. Think about what are your triggers for overeating, right? Like, what are the spaces that take you there, right? So for me, definitely stress, right? So I had to figure out other ways of managing my stress. Like when I feel stressed, what am I replacing my food trigger with, right? Like instead of running to food, now I will put on a Spotify playlist, usually my Tony Robbins playlist on there, because he has all this motivating, pumping music or whatever. So I'll put that on, and instead of running to food, I will do that for 45 minutes, an hour, right? And that could be different for you. It may be a bath. It may be a brisk walk. It may be just reading your goals again, right? Like those points that we spoke about earlier that are emotionally juicy, that bring you back to your ultimate goal, right? Of being vital and vibrant and in your skin. So, something I revisit for myself, and let me know if you guys have ever felt this way. I go back to the sense of, hey D, when you are overeating and you start to go through this process, you feel sad and depressed because you don't feel like you're in your skin, right? Like that's how I feel, right? So I remember those feelings, and I know I don't want to go there again, right? So that keeps me sane and motivated to continue on in those hard moments when I'm looking at that super amazing pasta that's cheesy and creamy and amazing looking. I remember that, you know what? Being able to adventure and not get tired and feeling happy in my skin is way more important to me. And going through that is way more painful. Going back to that pain versus pleasure is way more painful than me not having this plate of pasta, right? So I call these mind fucks, right? Where you are hacking your patterns in your brain, right? And in order to brain fuck yourself, mind fuck yourself, you need to know what it is that is making these things happen for you. So that's a little tidbit on what's happened with me. Please try the food meditation and let me know how it goes. I promise you guys that even with just that, you will have a life change. So I've left you guys with a couple of things. I hope it wasn't overwhelming or too much, but take some time to do the activities. Let me know how they go. Like, subscribe, and I really look forward to next episode where I bring you guys a couple of more tips and tricks on how to cleanse and increase your vitality. I love you guys. This is our first episode of D Cleansing with D, and I look forward to the next one. Till next time. Mwah.